Welcome, everyone, to Dinging Corners, a baseball podcast powered by Slab Stocks. I am Nate, here with Jimbo.
What's up, everybody?
And we are back again with a YouTube video and podcast. And this week, we've got a couple big names that we should probably talk about. And so we are going to talk about them. The list of names we're going to talk about today: Luis Arraez, Elly De La Cruz, and Jacob deGrom. So let's start with Luis Arraez because he's probably the least exciting name of the bunch, even though he's exciting, the least exciting name of the bunch, right? And so, Jimbo, I'm sure you have seen this, but Arias is currently hitting, we'll get rid of that ad. Arias is currently hitting 403. He has 87 hits in 58 games. 452 on base percentage, 495 slugging, 947 OPS. Have you ever seen a 400 triple slash line in your entire life in June? Because I sure haven't.
No, that's crazy. I knew he was doing well before the injury, but I didn't know he was doing that well. That's really. Wait, he hit 316 last year?
Yeah, led the MLB or led the AL in average.
Sorry. I thought this was Arias.
Arias?
Yeah.
No. Luis Arraez would never hit 400. He barely hits 250.
My bad.
Luis Arraez.
Okay, see, this makes way more sense. I just instantly thought because Brewers,
That's fair.
So
I was like, wow, I didn't realize Arias got injured. I guess maybe I'm missing something, so I had to go check. No. Luis Arraez currently hitting 400. As far as I know, the last person to hit 400 this late in June was Chipper Jones back in 2008. He did it up to June 18th. And then somebody did it in 2000. I can't remember the name right now, into July. So we'll see how far Luis Arraez can take this. Obviously, it's really hard to do. And a lot of times, guys that bring their 400 averages into the All-Star break will lose it afterwards anyways. So we've got a lot of season left, but it is cool to see June 9th, 403 average.
June 9th. Yeah, you're right. But anyways.
Hey, wait. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Are we wishing you a happy birthday today?
We might be. It might just
singing?
be.
Should I be singing on the podcast?
No, we're not gonna do anything. What we're all gonna do though is take a moment, say a quick prayer to get the Tigers to be good again. That's all I want.
That's all he wants. That's all he wants for his birthday. Jimbo, happy birthday. I'm sorry. I should have remembered. Shame on me for having to remember in the middle of the podcast, 3 minutes in.
Good, brother.
But happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. There's nothing else I would want to be doing more than doing a baseball podcast with my good friend Nate.
Ew. Is this the big 3-0?
It is the big 3-0.
Oh, the big 3-0.
It's weird, man. People always talk about it like, oh,
All right. Likewise, this will be our last podcast because I can't be seen doing a podcast with a 30-year-old.
Oh my gosh, that's weird to say, dude. It's weird to think. But anyways, going back to baseball.
Luis, real quick.
Yeah.
Everyone, drop a happy birthday to Jimbo in the YouTube comments.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And we'll go from there. And tell Jimbo your favorite memory of him in Dinging Corners. That would be a good birthday present.
That would be fun. That's one thing that I would love to do is go through our old episodes and get some of our takes on some of the players that we talked about. And that would be fun. But here's one take about Luis. I can never say his name.
Arraez.
Yep. Arias is he's like that. He's like a Hispanic trio. He just slaps the ball. So if there's ever a player to maintain this, it's a player like this because he's just taking whatever the pitcher's giving him and no shift. And with the bases being bigger, like everything kind of just plays to his advantage. And being in Miami, I feel like is a huge plus because of the gaps.
That's true. Huge ballpark. Now, the Twins ballpark isn't small, but Miami, big ballpark. What's crazy to me, real quick, is 17 extra base hits, 1 home run, 1 triple, 15 doubles, 87 hits.
It's
So
crazy.
60 of his hits have been singles. What else is crazy to me is like in the past when you see a guy who hits a lot of, swings a lot, gets a lot of hits, or sorry, a guy who doesn't strike out a lot, he only has 11 strikeouts on the year. Is that usually these are guys are free swingers and they might have a high average, but they don't have a high on base and they're not very good. And he's destroying that narrative in my brain where it's like, like the Gene Seguras where it's like, or Orlando Arcia never strikes out, but also just not very useful.
Jose Iglesias was the first one in my mind that I had. He was on our team for the longest time, and his average was always high. And people are always like, but he's hitting well. But now that we have OPS and we have more data, those players they don't look as good as they did 5 years ago because we have different stats to compare, which is awesome, which I love. It makes things way more fun.
Correct. And yeah, it's kind of cool to see one player breaking the mold of what is in my head of, okay, yeah, you can have a guy with a 300 average with a 330 on base and a 380 slugging, not very useful. But you get a guy like, and if he's not batting 400, all right, if he's not batting 400, we're having a different conversation. Because if his on base percentage is 50 points higher, which is nice, his slugging is 95 points higher. If you drop these all by 100 points, that's a significantly less interesting player. He's a 747 OPS as opposed to a 947. But I think the more interesting thing than the stats, and the stats are interesting, is something I did not realize, and now I feel like I have to go dig through my cards, because check this out, Jimbo. This is crazy. This is crazy to me. And we're not even going to be talking about a nice card. I think it's not that one. Not that one. I believe it's this one. Luis Arraez. All I did was... Did I spell that right? Maybe I spelled it wrong.
No, you spelled it right.
No, I spelled it
right. Yeah. Sorry.
All right, so Luis Arraez. This might not be crazy anymore. No, it's still crazy. 4 Topps Chrome Update rookies, $37.
All right, I'll see you next week. I got to go dig through my value boxes.
PSA 9, $35. Right? Topps Update Chrome, $10. Refractor Auto, $127. Topps Chrome, it doesn't even say, $26. Like, dude, we're talking about $7 to $8 for Topps Chrome Update rookies. Dude, what are we doing here? Or not $27, $8.
I didn't know they were that high for the base. I have so many of those type of cards that I have in my office at home. I have probably 15 boxes of like value box, like top loaded everything, value boxes. And I recently went through them. It's mostly baseball because, I'm a baseball guy.
Yeah.
And 2019, I ripped a ton and those were in there. I knew his Bowman Chrome autos were doing well because I graded a bunch in the off season. And then this season, like a month ago, I did a show and I was doing like comping, setting prices on stuff. And his stuff was pretty high for him being, not a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's interesting. So there is like some buzz around this, which just proves like people still look at the batting average and stuff like that. Obviously he's having an incredible start on all categories, but even if he just hit 300 without the power, I think they still sell because that's what the market, people are still looking at batting average for card price.
And
not everyone.
400 in June, you're going to make money. And look at this 4 Topps Update. You know how many stupid Luis Arraez cards I've just been in a box for years that I've just like, I sleeved and top loaded them years ago and just haven't done anything with them. You better believe I'm pulling them right out after this, putting them on eBay and taking whatever money I can get. I don't need $17 for 4. I'll take $10 for 4. If I'm getting $2.50 a card,
I'll take $1.
Yeah.
I'll take $1 each for all. Like, that is nuts. That is literally what I'm going to be doing today because I know I have tons of them.
Yeah. I mean, 428 for a base rookie, Luis Arraez.
Yeah.
Come on.
People that are listening, go to your local card shops, dig through the value boxes, dig through the twins if they're categorized.
Yeah.
Dig through the twins, dig through the baseball section, find these cards, find these players. Like, do a quick MLB search of the top 10 players, batting averages, or OPS, and start digging through some value boxes and finding these gems, man.
Yeah. It's insane. I was blown away. Like, I was just expecting to go on Card Ladder. All right, here's the Topps Chrome rookie auto, and here's what it's doing nowadays. It's moved up this much. Not, oh my goodness, $5, $4 for a Topps update base. More than that for a Topps Chrome update base. Like, what? It's insane.
That is nuts. I'm so glad you brought that up because I didn't know that before this.
It's free money. It's literally free money.
It is.
I mean, okay, I had to buy the boxes back in the day, and we all know that I spent way too much money every time I walked into a Walmart or Target, right? But
Yeah.
still, they were $20 boxes back in the day. Getting $5 back 4 years later now, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take that all day.
And plus, that doesn't even include, was that Series 2 update? No, that's update. I said it a million times. That doesn't even include all the other cards that may have been sold through those years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, and check this out. We'll even change the banner so that it actually reads Dinging Corners instead of our hockey branded one. So that looks better. But yeah, so Luis Arraez going crazy. You know who else is going crazy? Elly De La Cruz.
De La Cruz.
So let's pull up I got his game log here. So first game, had a double, had 2 walks in 5 at-bats, a double and 2 walks, which is really good to see from a and we'll get the Blue Moon ad off of there real quick. Real good to see because walks to strikeouts were kind of the concern in the minors. And that double was also, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who's listening to this, but I believe it was around 112, 113 miles per hour. He also had like 109 mile per hour ground out.
He hits the ball hard. I watched all 3 of these games twice, actually. And he hits the ball hard.
Dude, okay, so that brings us to game 2, speaking of hitting the ball hard. He took a 92 mile per hour fastball, top corner of the strike zone. Top corner, 92 miles per hour. And launched it a reported 458 feet for a ball that landed in the very top row of Great American Ballpark. Almost hit it out of the park.
Nuts.
At Great American on a ball that was 92 and not up and in because it wasn't up and in, but like top corner of the strike zone. That's the type of ball that you get mid and launch 458. He launched it at 458. And again, I don't believe that number for a second. That's the top row of Great American Ballpark. I just don't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure on the distance, but the height of it, the local CVG, the airport reported it that it like hit high enough where it came on their radar.
Seriously?
Yeah. And here's the thing that's cool about Elly De La Cruz. Like I grew up in Ohio, went to school at Cincinnati. I lived there after school even for a while. A lot of my friends, family still live there. I had so many people text me, Jimbo, how do I get this? I need some cards of this Elly kid. People that never texted me once about cards. This is what's so great about the injection of like the youth, the excitement. That stadium was rocking, dude. Like for the Reds. Mm-hmm. And it brings excitement for the city. My cousin even texted me. She was at the debut. She's like, yeah, everyone was talking about it, so I got tickets and I went. And I was like, what? Like you never go to baseball games. So like, that's what's great about this youth movement. And it's just fun. But at the same time, not to be the Debbie Downer on my birthday, but be careful buying into the hype with this, because as we were talking about him beforehand, there's always like a red flags with each player like this. Green flag on everything, but the biggest red flag, the only red flag that I can think of is that K rate.
Yep.
Which
and you could see it through 3 games. He struck out in 46% of his at bats.
And teams will adjust, and so there's going to be this excitement, which is great. Remember that, bottle it up. And then when things start to decline for him and people aren't talking about him as much and the next person gets called up, remember that excitement. And if you really do believe in this excitement right now, buy him on a discount when that time comes, because it will happen.
Yeah. Hey, you know what the nice thing is? Even with a 3 strikeout game yesterday, he still snuck a hit in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Important things from a young guy. Maybe not as important if it's like a vet, but a young guy to sneak a hit in a 3 strikeout game, we'll take that. So yeah, Elly just insane start to his career, and obviously a 46% strikeout rate is untenable. If he keeps that up, he's going to have to hit the ball hard all the time, every time he makes contact, and do damage every single time he's up. I'm not talking singles. He needs to be hitting doubles, triples, home runs every at bat if he strikes out 46% of the time. The likelihood of that happening, almost zero.
Yeah.
So like the excitement is there. I enjoy seeing the highlights. I enjoy him being up on the Reds. I like when the Reds are exciting, because I'd rather have them and the Pirates be exciting than the Cubs and the Cardinals. Speaking of the Cardinals, at one point this last week, they lost 7 of 8. Jimbo texted me. He said, in 1 or 2 years, the Reds are going to be more of a problem than the Cardinals. To which I responded, the Reds are more of a problem than the Cardinals right now.
Dude, the Reds are sneaky.
Yeah. I mean, they just brought up your boy Andrew Abbott. They've got Nick Lodolo. They've got Hunter Green. They've got a couple other pitchers that they have acquired over the years. The Chase Pettys and the Brandon Williamsons from the Mariners and from the Twins. They have the Matt McLeans called up, and the Elly De La Cruzes, and these Christian Encarnacion Strands, and the other dude that they got from the Twins I can't remember the name of.
Yeah.
And like Senzel just went on the DL, but he was having a decent season. And so it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. They're good, but we just covered them a couple weeks ago, so we're not going to rehash the Reds again, though they are exciting. But what we can talk about is the Elly De La Cruz card market.
Let's do it.
And let's figure out which one. Yeah, that's the one. So I have one card pulled up here. Sorry, not trying to yawn.
You need an energy drink, man.
Oh, I'm trying to avoid caffeine as best as possible. Yeah, I drink like a soda at like 1 o'clock, and then like at night I'd be laying there and my chest would feel tight and it would feel like racing and stuff. And I was like, either this is the caffeine or I'm like dying or something.
From one pop?
Yeah, from one.
And I'm 30. Like, who's the 30-year-old here, man?
That's true.
One pop?
I mean, I'm getting pretty close.
One pop though, at 1 o'clock. You feel it at night?
Now, number one's called soda. Even if it's your birthday, it's still called soda.
Potato.
And yeah, one Mountain Dew, unless it's mixed with alcohol, it was giving me some tight chest and some racing. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I've been avoiding caffeine for the better part of, I think I've had caffeine 3 times in like the last 3 months.
Wow. I've had caffeine 3 times in the last
3 hours. Well, more power to you. So check this out. Elly De La Cruz, non-first Red Sapphire PSA 9, $1,535. Now, look, it's a nice color match and everything, but yeesh. Paper base, Elly De La Cruz, $7.37. That can't be true. What's going on here? Bowman Chrome first base, $30.
I mean, think about it. Jordan Walker was 45 when he got called up.
$29.
So, you know,
paper base, $30.
This is why I love baseball prospecting. And remember how this is why I sell on debut every time you see this. So my cousin texted me, was the one that she was like, hey, I went to the game, all this, I need to get cards. And so I was texting her back and forth. I go, cuz right now's the time to sell. And I explained to her all that. And I showed her, like, I was like, yeah, I just sold. And I had like 7 PSA 10s base Bowman Chrome First. And they sold for, I don't know, like $100 each during the opening day. But and then I went back and I was like, how much did I buy those for? Because I looked on my eBay. I snagged them for like $4 because I bought something else and they had those, and I bought them just to add to the shipment because it was free shipping for additional items. So it's like, I always do that. I always see what else they have, and then I scoop them up and buy them all. But anyways, bought it for $4, graded them. Some of them got 9, some of them got 10, 7 of them got 10s, and you just list them and you let them sit because someone will get excited. And not everyone will have them listed during that time, and you sell them. Sold 7 of them for $100 each. So let's say I walk away $500. I'm going to take that $500 and buy a gold auto of the next player, and then maybe get a few of the base of some of the other players for like that $4 range, and then just recycle. That's why I tell people, like, I'm not grading base isn't good idea anymore, but at the high end, I always say like the top 3 guys in a product, it's worth it because you'll be the only, like, you want to have them graded in your hands before other people do that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's a risk, obviously. You need a Elly De La Cruz call up and excitement around AAA. Like, if he didn't have the AAA season he had and then get called up, you're not getting $100 a pop.
No.
So, but
probably 50.
Considering you're probably into buying them and grading them for $25 a card.
Oh yeah, less
worth the risk.
No.
But yeah, Elly, amazing. But we'll move on because it's been 22 minutes and we're trying to go a little bit quicker today. One, I've got things. 2, it's Jimbo's birthday, so we don't want to keep him too late. So let's move on to the less exciting news, unfortunately, and that is our guy, Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
So we've got pulled up here his baseball reference page. One real cool thing I didn't realize, he has the most strikeouts per walk, or the best strikeout per walk rate in MLB history at 538, which is cool.
Wow.
But this is a dude who, if we scroll up here, you'll see 44.6 wins above replacement, put on 0.7 this year. So we'll just round up and say he was at 44 going into this year, right? 44 wins above replacement going into this year. Obviously had dealt with injuries, but the baseline is 60. So, not out of the question that he could still maybe hit the Hall of Fame. And then he obviously, and this is with having, you see this here, 68 innings because of 2020, 92 innings of a 1.08 ERA with 146 strikeouts, which is just absolute insanity. Before he got injured, and then last year's only 64 innings. So we're talking about an amount of innings that like barely equals his 2018 season in 3 years. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's 132 plus 92, 124 innings. If I did that right. So 124 or 224 innings, 224 innings in 3 seasons. He did 217 innings in 2018. And remember, he came up at 26. So the fact that he's even close to the Hall of Fame when he came up at 26 would be absurdly impressive. But now he's injured. Only threw 30 innings this year. Tommy John surgery. Going to be out the rest of this year. And because it's a 12 to 16 month period, if it goes to the end of those 16 months, he's going to miss all of next year as well. Which, you're throwing. He's at 252 innings in what will amount to being 5 years.
Dude, that's when they signed him to that contract,
5-year, $185 million contract.
I was like, in my head, I was like are they doing this to sell jerseys and then put an insurance thing on them? You know, like, and hope just get your money back on him. And then if he plays, great. Because since 2020, look how many innings he's had. Well, I guess you had that COVID year, but
It's been injury after injury.
And I mean, he is extreme. See, this is how I look at things like this. If I was an owner and I had a Jacob deGrom, I'm literally like, I would start his spring training the last month of the season, and then let him go for
Just
the playoffs.
let him pitch in the playoffs. That's not a bad idea.
Like, if you're a team like the Rangers and it's like, hey, we know, like, we got to let's see what the squad's doing around us. Like, I always thought that with some of these like super high end, like injury prone pitchers where they'll get like, but if they're healthy, they're getting you a win, you know, like, why not save them like that?
I wonder if you could do a deal where it's like super incentive laden, where it's like, all right, you get $10 million just for pitching for us. And obviously you'd have to make massive incentives because otherwise they would just take the guaranteed money. So it's like $10 million to pitch for us. And if you pitch 50 innings, you get another 10 million. And you pitch 100 innings, you get another 5 million on top of that. And you pitch 200 innings total, maybe you get like 40 million extra and make 50 million in the year type of thing. But
I love that.
For the Rangers, it's one of those things where, like, pitchers like this, we're talking about a dude who had a 108 ERA in 92 innings just 2 years ago.
That is nuts.
Pitchers like this just don't come about. So I understand signing, and I understand just crossing your fingers and hoping after a couple of unhealthy seasons that he stays healthy. You know? But he didn't. And now you're missing the rest of this year. You're missing next year. And that is going to end up being, we scroll down to the bottom to find his salaries. You know, 30 million. He's probably been paid out 10 million of that or so this year. So 20 million to not pitch and another 40 million to not pitch, likely. So that's $60 million off the payroll to not pitch for them. That's tough. But again, we're talking about a dude who had a 108 ERA in 92 innings. If he can stay healthy, I mean, like, I at some point, I feel like if you have the money, you take that risk.
I don't know, man. That's the raise right there. 60 million.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
For one play, like, I'd rather go out and give the Rays 60 million and give me Shane McClanahan, you know, and I'll throw in a prospect. And because I bet the Rays would sell, like, if the Rays were able just to sell their players, like how soccer does it, they would do that, because that's the only way they keep going. Like, they sold Blake Snell because his contract was too much and it was not even that crazy. But anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Question for you, Nate. I know you said something about the Hall of Fame for Jake deGrom. Instantly in my head, I was thinking Curt Schilling, because, you know, the controversy of him making it in or not.
Yeah.
He's not in. What's your thoughts? If you had to pick Jacob deGrom or Curt Schilling?
So there's other things going on with Curt Schilling, right?
Yeah.
That's not going on with Jacob deGrom.
True. But just stats alone.
But
throw all that other, we're stats only.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hard argument, though, because you know,
honestly I don't know the backstory of it, and I have a feeling it's not a good backstory. And now I'm like, I shouldn't have brought it up.
Yeah, but we don't want to get into it. There's rumors and scandals and everything.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Jacob deGrom, though, for me, he was the best pitcher in baseball for a good 3-year stretch. Right?
Yeah.
From 2018 to 2020, and again, obviously 68 innings, but strike shortened, he was the best pitcher in baseball. And he was really the best pitcher in baseball in 2021, but he didn't get to pitch too much because he got injured. So for that 3-year stretch, he was literally better than anybody, and I would have taken him number one over anybody else in baseball to be my guy on the bump. Game needs to be won. I'm not choosing anybody else. Jacob deGrom is 1-1 on that list. So, like, the peak is incredible. Even though it's not usually it needs to be like a 7-year peak for Hall of Fame, it's a 4-year peak, right? But the peak is unbelievably good. Now the question is, the 60 quote unquote wins above replacement baseline. So he needs 16 more wins above replacement. If he becomes healthy at age 37, if he pitches 37, 38, 39, and age 40, he needs four wins above replacement a year. If he pitches to 41, 42, he needs less than that, obviously, and he could get away with 3 or under 3 if he pitches age 42 season. So, I think he can still get there as long as he stays healthy. I think he can get there. But that's a big ask. If he comes back mid-year next year and gets a couple more innings next year, it's even a little bit easier. But then it comes down to, all right, what numbers does he have to get to down here? He probably needs 2,000 strikeouts at least, right? He probably needs, an extra some round number of innings, some round number of strikeouts to pass, and stuff like that, to where it gets him to the point where they look at both. They can look past the injuries and they can look past just meeting the bar and seeing some other things. It's like hitters. A hitter essentially needs 2,000 hits to make the Hall of Fame. They can have 60 plus wins above replacement. If they don't have 2,000 hits, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. My other question is, if he comes back, do you even think about moving him to put him in your bullpen and make him a closer just to hopefully help his arm out? Now that's a huge price tag for a closer, which you almost can't because of the price tag.
Yeah. I mean, if you're getting multi inning use out of him, where every couple of days you can pitch him 3 innings, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, maybe that's worth it. As long as he can pitch a couple times a week, where you're just like, all right, I'm saving my closer, I'm saving my regular setup man, and we're going deGrom this game 7th, 8th, 9th. You'd probably win a lot of games that way, and he could get some innings in without it being overly taxing, I suppose, if you pitch 2 times a week that way, 6 innings a week. That being said, I don't know what that would do for rest wise. I don't know how much rest he'd need between, and I don't know what that would do. I could see that. I couldn't see them spending $40 million on a 1 inning guy.
Yeah, me either.
But I get the point of it being a very difficult situation to be in because he clearly can't stay healthy. So I don't know, if you wanted to get some value out of your contract and didn't want to risk another injury, I do think that maybe a multi-inning reliever role where you have another closer. He's not your closer, but you can guarantee yourself 3 really good innings in a game you're winning out of Jacob deGrom. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just crazy, man. The price tag and knowing the history of the injuries, and he still got paid that much, is just wild. Yeah. It's so much money.
It is an absolute ton. Speaking of money, you want to see money lost. We talked about money gained with the other guys. Money lost, Jacob deGrom, in the last year. You can see this over here. We've got his Top Scrum update, PSA 10. 1 year, down 71.5%. Started at $500, and that might have been a little bit high, but even if it was 335, 387, 474, right? It's down to 142 in a year.
Yeah.
And
oof. Yeah.
If he can't make the Hall of Fame, if there's no chance at the Hall of Fame, how much lower is this going to go?
It'll drop quite a bit. But here's the thing, though. Positive note. Justin Verlander, fantastic, for the longest time. Struggled for the Tigers, had injuries. Literally, in my mind, I was like, let's trade him. Let's get what we can for him. He's maybe got 2 or 3 years left. Goes to Houston, gets married to Kate Upton, does all, and, starts pitching incredible again. And he probably has another, 2 more years after this.
And he blew out his elbow, came back, and won a Cy Young.
So, yeah. And so, like, guys like this, where who knows, they might have a long injury patch, but maybe during that injury patch, they gain another pitch. They figure out that they work on another part of their game. Some of the really good pitchers do this, work on another part of their game. They come back even better than they were before because they have the stuff plus the mindset, like the intangible stuff that they work on when they're hurt. So, but that's just the positive side. Now it's a long road.
I'm glad you brought that up because Justin Verlander is exactly who I'm thinking of when I say, well, if he pitches well into his 40s, there's a chance for him to make the Hall of Fame. Not well into his 40s, but pitches well, into his 40s.
Yeah.
Because there is precedent there with Justin Verlander and guys like Jamie Moyer. Jamie Moyer pitched to his 49. Right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about you.
You remember that, Jamie Moyer? And not saying Jacob deGrom is going to do that, but maybe there's a chance that Jacob deGrom says, "Man, I did not get to pitch much in my late 30s. I want to keep going," and he pulls a Jamie Moyer. I mean, Jamie Moyer had age 45. He was worth 2.5 wins above replacement. 44, he was worth 2. 43, he was worth 1.9. 42, he was worth 2.5. 46.6, 47.2, even age 49, he was worth 0.1 win above replacement. All right, that's not a lot, but like all these little numbers help. And so if he could pitch into his 40s and at 45 match what Jamie Moyer was doing at 2.5, like then you're easily crossing the bar for Hall of Fame. Now, obviously, that's taking one guy that pitched late into his career and saying, well, this guy did it, so Jacob deGrom could do it, which is obviously ridiculous. But, I mean, there's at least precedents where you can be like, yeah, I could, because he's sitting at almost 45 wins above replacement. It's just another 15 win above replacement stretch.
That's why I brought up the bullpen thing because, like, I think about like a John Smoltz, like getting converted into as a closer later in his career, and he was good, good for a while there at the end where it's like, hey, if you can get another 2 or 3 years out of your career, but in the bullpen, why not?
Well, let's look at this way. Josh Hader in 312 games out of the bullpen has been worth 10.2 Baseball Reference wins above replacement. So we'd probably need to be better than Josh Hader.
Good luck.
Yeah. Which might be hard. But if you can get a couple years of starting in there and then finish out his year as a closer, I could see it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, his market has dropped significantly, and obviously there's some more to be dropped if the Hall of Fame is no longer on the table. And really the fact that we're talking about a dude who came up at 26 years old, he got called up. This isn't a 21-year-old or a 22-year-old. This is a 26-year-old that got called up, and here he is talking about Hall of Fame. It's insane.
I'm going to remember that he got his rookie year. He was 26 because I didn't realize that until today when I'm thinking about pitchers like, oh, this pitcher's too old. Obviously it's a stretch if their rookie year is, they're 26 their rookie year, but Jacob deGrom did it, so you never know now.
Yeah, and part of me feels like for some reason, did he pitch that entire time? Was he drafted as something else? He didn't pitch in 2011. He pitched in 2010 rookie ball. 2012, he threw 89 innings as a 24-year-old in A ball. So, like, he missed 2011 probably due to injury.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
And he started, check this out, rookie ball as a 22-year-old pitcher, rookie ball out of. Isn't that insane?
What was that? Sorry.
5.19 ERA as a 22-year-old college pitcher in rookie ball, his first season of the minors. And he's gone from that to, we're talking about him missing the Hall of Fame because of injuries.
Crazy.
So amazing. That's all I got today, though, Jimbo. And anything else from you?
Nope. The only thing I guess, yeah, I can't say nope and then say something, but so yes. I just want to say that I am 30 years old now. It's my birthday, and it's just awesome. I'm very grateful that I get to do this podcast with you every week, talk baseball. I could talk baseball 24/7, literally. I get pretty close to some most days. But there are some days my wife will ask me a question about flowers or something where I have to deviate from my baseball talk.
Yep.
But no, just very grateful for all that. Love the hobby, what it's done, people I met through it, and it's going to be a fun summer. We got a lot of baseball left, and I'm excited for we got the national around the corner.
Oh yeah.
And a lot more fun episodes throughout the year.
Yes, sir. I agree. I'm excited. I'm excited to see you at the National. Haven't seen Jimbo in almost a year now, so that'll be fun. And also remember, everyone, please, if you have a favorite Jimbo story or a favorite Jimbo moment from Dinging Corners, put it in the comments below. If you're listening on podcast, hop over to YouTube, Slabstock's YouTube, and put a comment in there, and let's make Jimbo's birthday a little special. So thank you, everyone, for listening to today's Dinging Corners. Thank you, Jimbo, for hopping on your birthday. He is a man of the people, committed to the art of the podcast. And we will talk to you all next Friday.
Deuces.